Jackson Arnold and the Auburn Tigers have a massive showdown with Marcel Reed and the Aggies on Saturday. Kyle Field, College Station. We cannot wait for this matchup. We have to start with Jackson Arnold and Auburn because they had a heartbreaking loss on the road at Oklahoma, more particularly for Jackson Arnold because that was his football team a season ago. That's who he was the starting quarterback for, embattled what it was. He got sacked 10 times. That is unacceptable from an offensive line. I don't care if you are going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. You cannot give up 10 sacks. Now, what was a very nice bright spot is the way that Jackson Arnold battled. There were a couple of chances where you could imagine a guy with a little bit less mental fortitude could have given up, that could have had a little bit less confidence to trot out there, but he kept fighting until the very end. Now, on the other side of things, Marcel Reed, we can come out and say the exact same thing because down 6, he takes his team all the way down the field. 4th and goal. 4th and goal from the 11-yard line. Or it was 4th and 11. First time would have been at the wall. I think it was 4th and goal. They get the game-winning touchdown. Unbelievable finish to that game. This guy has shown that he can be a winner, and I'll tell you why. Texas A&M isn't just a playoff contender, but they have a foundational piece of their offense which can make them natty contenders, but the missing puzzle piece might be within the defense. Giving up 40 points to Notre Dame, that just cannot happen. We know that national title defenses are top 5 in the country. You look back on the last 15 that have won, they have had elite defenses. But what's a big piece? Both of these teams possess what it takes to get in position to be competing for a national title. That is 2 outside weapons on offense and a good run game. Well, if you're an Auburn fan, you're like, well, who does A&M have? Well, Concepcion, the transfer from NC State, stud. Mario Craver comes over. He's got over 400 yards. Stud. And then if you're an A&M fan, you're thinking about, wait, Auburn, I know about Cam Coleman. What about Eric Singleton? Do you know about this kid out of the slot, the Georgia Tech transfer? Both of these teams have arguably 2 of the best 5 wide receiver duos in all of college football and more than capable quarterbacks. Marcel Reed demonstrated in that game against Notre Dame that he has taken the step that all Aggie fans wanted him to, that Mike Elko had been preaching that he wants to see out of his young quarterback, is to take that step as a passer. We all know how good of a runner, how dynamic he is with the ball in his hands as a runner. Same exact thing for Jackson Arnold. He had a couple of beautiful balls. It certainly helps when you have a guy like Cam Coleman, who I'm just going to flat out say I think might be the best wide receiver in the SEC. Not Ryan Williams. I bet I'll see some smiles from Auburn and A&M fans watching this. Cam Coleman's just got the physical traits. He's a bigger, stronger version, maybe not as fluid, but who is as fluid as a Ryan Williams? But Cam Coleman is a problem for A&M, especially with the way their offense moved the football. He is going to be a guy you have to double team. Do not leave Cam Coleman one-on-one. He was a massive problem for Oklahoma throughout the day. One of the best defenses in college football. I would definitely argue superior to what A&M and Auburn have as a pass rush, or the linebackers in the middle, their secondary, and the fundamentally sound nature of what they have. Of course, Brent Venables being of defensive nature and calling the plays makes it very tough, and led to a really nice defensive performance from Oklahoma. Now, in this game, as far as them matching up, I have to talk about their mobility because it will be such a key factor in this one. We've just seen Jackson Arnold. He had 20 carries against Oklahoma. That cannot happen anymore in SEC play. These teams are just too physical, cannot put your body on the line in that sense. It's not a Haynes King where he's able to go out there and do it against ACC competition. This is the Southeast Conference. People will lay you out. Now, Jeremiah Cobb had been so efficient. He'd been great through the first couple of weeks, and where I was disappointed is Jeremiah Cobb only got the ball 6 times against Oklahoma, and he had 61 rushing yards. It's unacceptable from an offensive standpoint. From Hugh Freeze, you go back and look at those numbers. Huge missed opportunity. They should have tried to get the ball a little bit more to Jeremiah Cobb instead of trying to have their quarterback drop back and pass the football when it was clear and obvious that that was resulting in a sack, every third, every fourth drop back that he had. I would have loved to have seen more shots. I know that you wound up giving Cam Coleman a ridiculous number of targets in this game, that Eric Singleton had 9 catches, but Cam Coleman only had 3 catches on the day and a touchdown. What would have been wrong with giving him 5 more one-on-ones in that matchup? It was obvious that Oklahoma's starting corner that he was on the opposite side of, he was dominating at the catch point. I just feel like that was a missed opportunity. Will they have an opportunity to do that against Texas A&M? What will Mike Elko, what will be the talks in the meeting rooms this week? Are we going to take Eric Singleton out of the slot away? Are we going to take Cam Coleman on the outside away? Are we going to take both of these guys away, and we're going to dare them to run the football with Jeremiah Cobb, with Jackson Arnold? You can't take all of them away. You don't have the athletes if you're A&M to do that. It's not a knock. It's just these guys have so many players. When you add in the dynamic ability of Jackson Arnold and Jeremiah Cobb, who's been great through the first third of the season. Can't believe it's already been a third of the season, but you have to pick one. Dublin, Coleman. I believe that the best choice and how to go about it will be taking Coleman away on the outside and forcing throws over the middle where things can get tipped and picked, and forcing Arnold to make the reads over the middle to get the ball into Eric Singleton's hands. And frankly, having them run the ball, keep this be a low-scoring game if possible. More clock turning. You're at home. Put yourself in favorable opportunities and try and almost dare them to run the football. This isn't the run game that Notre Dame has with Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. Now, on the other side of things, if I'm Auburn, I liked what I saw for the most part from our pass rush this past week. I would have really wanted them to hem John Mateer in. How many times did John Mateer take off, get outside of the pocket, and he's just rolling to his right side, he's able to find somebody? They had to have come out with a strategy to keep him hemmed inside the pocket. Marcel Reed and A&M, this guy can get out of there in a hurry, except that he's shown this season that he's fine staying in there and throwing. If I'm Auburn, immediately, I am not letting them just take shots over the top. Make Marcel Reed march the football down the field, one play at a time. 9, 10, 11, 12 plays. I'm frankly going to let them put the ball in his hands. I'm going to take the run game away, right? We're going to have the players in a position to take Le'Veon Moss out of the football game. We need to do that. And then you put yourself in a 2nd and 6. Immediately, 2 high safeties take away the deep ball. So if I'm Auburn, immediately the strategy is, if we're going to have our shots, it'll be on first down. Because if I'm Texas A&M, I'm taking away the run game. I'm making sure I don't get beat by Marcel Reed, get beat by Le'Veon running the football on first down and getting them into 2nd and longs, because then we can play some coverage. If they run the ball on that early down and we only give up 2-3 yards, we're completely winning this thing. Now we can get into a spot where we've stopped Le'Veon Moss and we can rely more so on the passing attack. That's us more so of what I've seen from A&M, what I've seen from Auburn, and the way that I would attack this matchup from a defensive standpoint. Offensively, I talked about what I would do if I were Auburn and utilizing Coleman. If there are one-on-ones, you just have to take them. I frankly think he's the type of player, even though he's a sophomore, when you can just give him the confidence, he will come down with the football. And if I'm A&M, I think our guy, Le'Veon Moss, I believe in Ruben Owens and Marcel Reed carrying the football out of the backfield, that frankly, they're just good enough that if they're going to be sitting back there with 2 high safeties on 2nd down and 8, can we pick up 6 or 7 yards on 2nd down? That will be the question Mike Elko and his team will have to answer. Can we pick up yardage on 2nd and long, keeping the ball on the ground and sustaining success, driving the football down the field? I believe that's what it'll come down to. Not first down in this game, not 3rd down, but 2nd down. Who can get their team to have first downs on 2nd down, to have 3rd and shorts, keep themselves out of a position? Of course, Jackson Arnold have to keep this guy out of 3rd and long, keep them in a spot where they can run the football, keep it out of his hands on a 3rd down, or at least keep it in his hands where he can run the football. I'm curious what you think about this one. Why do you think that there's a certain player each of these teams have to take away? That's what's so fascinating about these matchups, is you can imagine yourself as an offensive, defensive coordinator, the way you would go about it. Let me know down below in the comments how you would go about doing it, how it would be a little bit different. Now, I have Texas A&M winning this game at 27-23, above the 46.5 points. I believe the spread is Texas A&M at about 5.5, 6 at this point. Don't think it'll be quite that much, but as of this stage, I've got a little bit more faith in Texas A&M's defense bouncing back from that Notre Dame performance, and Marcel Reed being able to deliver. Love the way he played in some spots last season. These wide receivers are legit, but again, anything that you can say about them, there's the same thing for Auburn. I just believe that after that win against Notre Dame, they showed me something on the road, that they have another gear that maybe Auburn doesn't have, because frankly, at the end of the day, they had the football back with a chance to go down the length of the field and win the game at Oklahoma. Marcel Reed got the football, chance to win the game with a touchdown. He did it versus Notre Dame. I believe that Marcel Reed and A&M, that's why I'm taking them, because of the sole data that we have, and that's what we're left with to take, and that's what I will go with. So let me know down below in the comments what you think. What do you think of 27-23? Do you believe A&M gets the dub? Will it be Auburn bouncing back? Eldrick Falk, let's go. A sack or two in this game, forcing Marcel Reed off of his spot. Let me know down below what your opinion is. I appreciate you so much for watching. Please stay tuned for more content in the future. Make sure to subscribe for more football videos. I make college and NFL videos every single day. The live streams will be coming in hot very soon, so stay tuned for all of that. I appreciate you so much, and I will see you next time.
Best player in college football.
That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blunder, hi everybody, I'm Josh Blunder.
To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.